What do we have in mind today? A very super nutritious veggie soup called carrot, kale, and white bean soup. We're going to add a couple other little ingredients here, but they're all going to be vegetarian. They're all going to be flavorful. So let's get it going. I'll show you that we already have a head start. First of all, we're going to use the Cosori multi-cooker today. This can cook many different ways, but we're going to start it on simmer. I just turned it on so it would start to get warm. And this canister here is removable and non-stick. I'm going to start with a little olive oil here, and it's really not necessary, but we are using the olive oil to start simmering the vegetables, and also when we get to the kale, it helps to soften the leaves a little bit quicker when there's some olive oil in there. Alright, so we have the olive oil. Here's the shortcut. Last night I started practicing with my new KitchenAid food processor, and I was just trying to see how fast the carrots and celery and onions would go through. Well, when they went through so nicely, I put the refrigerator lid on and put this in the refrigerator to store it overnight. So that today, all my prep work for these vegetables is already done. So I'll put the link in my description to show you how I chopped these up so fast while I was just learning how to use it. I chopped the onions on a medium setting, and I think they came out perfect for this soup. So we're going to get the onions in there. Underneath the onions, I use a red onion and a Spanish onion. Then underneath there, I did the celery. And the celery I also did on a medium setting, and oh my gosh, this whole canister only took maybe 2 minutes. And then we have some carrots. The carrots, I decided I wanted to make them as thick as possible with the slicing blade because I wanted to have a substantial carrot to bite on when I made this soup. So you can see how they came out. Alright, let's pour them all in. Now this is a 13-cup canister on the food processor, so that's how much I have in the order of vegetables. The next thing that I wanted to add, I have a lot of garlic. I want to put a lot of garlic in here. These are all peeled cloves. There's probably about 25 cloves of garlic in for that amount of vegetables. I'm going to use some garden vegetable broth. So this is a vegetarian meal when you're finished. And I picked the one with 40% less sodium to make it even more healthy for us. So this is a 32-ounce container. We're going to pour that in. Next, I'm going to add 2 cans of white beans. Now I have cannellini beans, and I also have small white beans. I just want the beans to be white, and I like varying the sizes if possible. So I'm going to rinse and drain them, and I'll just take a moment to do that. Alright, there's the cannellini beans. There's the small white beans. Alright, we'll mix all that in there a little bit. Next, I have some sprigs of thyme, and I'm just going to lay these in here. I'll take them out at the end. If the leaves fall off, that'll be more flavor within the soup. But we're going to let them cook along in there. We're going to add some black pepper. You can add salt if you want to at this point, some sea salt or whatever salt you prefer. I don't plan to add any salt to this soup. Now, the next thing that's going to go in here is the kale. Now I brought fresh kale leaves because I like that freshness. You can also buy the bags of kale that are pre-washed and chopped, but you can see what a nice leaf this is. And what I'm going to do here is just pull the leaves off of the main vein, because that's a pretty tough part. And then I'm going to put them in a colander here and wash them too. So you can put in as much as you like. The kale will cook down and get very small as it cooks, but I'm going to tear small bits off of this main stem and make it nice bite-sized pieces. And you can save the stem and not put it in there. It just makes it a little easier to eat, a little nicer. But just take the nice fluffy leaf off of the main stem. And you'll see that a nice big bunch of kale like this, well, it disappears pretty fast. And when it cooks, it gets to be much smaller. So don't be afraid to overstuff your pot. You can make this in a cast iron pot, or you can make it in a pressure cooker. You could make it in a slow cooker. Whatever vessel you would like to get out and try today. Use all your appliances in your kitchen. They're sitting there waiting for you. Alright, let me rinse these off. I have a nice pile of kale here, and I'll be right back. Alright, we have the leaves all washed. There's one other ingredient I like to add into a pot of vegetables like this sometimes, some red pepper flakes. So before I put the kale in there, I'm just going to sprinkle in a little bit of extra flavor. Just to warm up that soup a little bit. Alright, now let's dump in the kale. And we're just going to try to get that worked in to the rest of the mixture. I'm going to put enough water in here to cover this and make a nice broth with that vegetable broth that we added. So when you're choosing which vegetables to put in here and how much, add the container of vegetable broth, but then add enough water in your vessel to make a nice soup out of that. And remember, some of the cooking liquid will evaporate. So the measurements depend a lot on what container you're using and what vegetables you chose to put in. You could add sliced peppers, you could add a lot of things. I'm going to simmer this for about 2 hours, and we'll be back to take a look at it. I'll show you how we're doing. Okay, the soup is finished up. Let me show you what we have. Now you can see the color has changed on the greens and the other vegetables. Let's just do a test on the carrots here so I can show you that they're nice and tender. You can stick a fork right in there and it comes right through the other side. Okay, I think this looks delicious. I'm going to pull out the sprigs of thyme. I like having the two different types of beans in there and all those nice vegetables. Oh my gosh. And the broth is now flavored with the cooking of these vegetables. Alright, let's have a taste of this delicious bowl of soup. That's delicious. I think you'll love this recipe for the fall. It'll really warm you up. Thanks for watching.